Welcome to episode 2, the triangle in everything, the 3 problems. Hold up your hands, thumbs together, index fingers together. You already know this shape. Now watch. Three gestures. Last week I told you these were 3 ways the frame fails. Today we find out what they feel like from the inside. And we're going to start somewhere you already know. Somewhere before you had words for any of this. We're going to start in childhood. Problem 1. Think about a child in a home where certain things couldn't be said. Not because they weren't true, because the rules of the house didn't have room for them. You felt something, anger, confusion, something that didn't fit the shape of what was allowed, and you learned quickly that expressing it cost more than swallowing it, so you swallowed it. And over time, something happened inside. There was the version of you that existed in that house, the one who followed the rules, stayed quiet, performed what was required, and there was something else, a part that knew things the house didn't want to know, a part that felt things that had no permitted expression. 2 parts, running separately, each real, neither able to meet the other openly. That's what it feels like when a structure starts to come apart from the inside. Not dramatically, quietly. The parts that should be running together begin to run separately instead. You are still there. All the pieces are still there, but they're not operating as one thing anymore. The top of the triangle has opened. Nothing left. Nothing broken. The distance between 2 things that should be in relation has grown too wide to carry weight. Children learn this early and carry it long. The part of you that performed compliance and the part of you that knew better than to trust it. The self you showed and the self you kept. Not because you were dishonest, because the structure you were inside didn't have room for one whole person. That's the first problem, not a character flaw, a structural condition. Something that happened inside the structure, a person, a family, a classroom, when its parts can no longer run as one. Problem 2. Think about a child who learned that the safest response to anything threatening was to disappear. Not literally, but close. Freeze. Go still. Make yourself smaller. Don't escalate. Don't react. Just go quiet and wait for it to pass. It worked. That's the important thing. It was a genuine response to a real situation. The freeze, the compliance, the fawn, they weren't failures. They were the most intelligent, available answer to conditions that offered no better option. But something happened over time. The response, the one that worked, became the only available response, regardless of what the new situation actually called for. New conditions arrived, the old pattern ran, the situations changed, the answer didn't. And sometimes the opposite happened. Sometimes a child who has held too still for too long would eventually or finally hit a moment where everything that has been compressed came out at once. Not calibrated, not proportional, just release. Everything that had been held came out faster than anyone could manage, including the child. Both ways are children learning to regulate under conditions that were too much. Both are real. One locked, one overflowing the same underlying problem in two directions. The base of the triangle has opened. The part of the structure that allows it to change state, to respond to what's actually in front of it, to absorb what comes in and answer proportionally, has lost its architecture. I have taught many children who lived in both of these states, the one who was so still they had almost disappeared, and the one who came in every morning already at capacity, already at the edge, already carrying more than any child should have to carry before 9 in the morning. Different presentations, the same problem underneath. Problem 3. This one is harder to see, especially from the inside. Think about a child who needed to check, not occasionally, constantly. A persistent, low-level question running underneath everything. Is this right? Am I okay? Do you still see me? The question needed answered so often for me that one of my mom's early letters described her gentle exhaustion with it. That single question, right, Mom? Asked again and again and again, not from doubt, but from something deeper, the need for an outside confirmation that the inside was real. Every child needs that to some degree. That's not the problem. The problem is when the need becomes the structure. When a child's sense of where they end and where the world begins is so uncertain that they need continuous external confirmation just to locate themselves. Or the opposite. Think about a child who stopped asking entirely, who learned that checking was dangerous, that being seen meant being evaluated, that contact meant risk, who built a wall so complete that nothing got in, safe behind it, also alone behind it, and also unable to receive what they actually need because the wall didn't discriminate. Both are children with a boundary problem. One couldn't locate where they ended. One couldn't let anyone close enough to find it. The whole triangle folded, not one vertex. The architecture of the entire relationship between the inside and the outside gave way. Right, Mom? Is one of the most structurally honest questions a child can ask. It's the sound of structure trying to locate its own edge, trying to find where it is in relation to everything around it. That's not weakness. That's a structure doing its best to hold itself together when the conditions for holding are uncertain. 3 problems. Something falling apart from the inside, something that can't respond to what's actually happening, something that can't hold its own edge. Now here's what I need you to hold before we go further. These aren't separate problems that each need their own separate solution. They're not a checklist. You don't solve the first one, move on to the second, then fix the third and declare yourself done. They are simultaneous requirements. Anything that holds together is solving all 3 at once, continuously, under whatever condition it's in. And when one starts to fall or fail, when the top of the triangle opens, or the base, or everything folds inward, it doesn't stay contained. The problems move. They find each other. A structure that can't hold its edge starts losing its ability to respond. A structure that can't respond starts coming apart inside. What looks like one problem is usually 3 problems in sequence, each accelerating the next. The children I described didn't have one struggle, they had 3, running simultaneously, each making the others harder to hold. 3 vertices, all required, all 3 at the same time. We've been feeling the problem, next week we name them. Until then, hold the triangle. Think about a version of yourself, younger or recent or right now, and ask which of these three gestures your structure is closest to. You don't need to name them yet. The problem is enough to start with. Everything that holds together does so in the same way. Here's how. It's the triangle in everything. We have new episodes weekly.